Hello, it's Dr. Michael Karlfeldt. I'm so excited to announce we have brought in an amazing technology called HeartQuest. It's one of those therapies that doesn't require any needles, a 5-minute measurement of heart rate variability. Heart rate variability, it's kind of like a window to our whole autonomic nervous system. By analyzing the variations within your heart rate, you can then translate that into how's your brain functioning, your neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, your norepinephrine, epinephrine. You can also translate that into your mineral deficiencies. What are your magnesium levels, your calcium levels, potassium, hormones, estrogen, insulin, blood sugar regulation, your brain, your mitochondria. What is your level of inflammation? All of these things you can learn from just a simple test that takes 5 minutes. All you do is sit still there for 5 minutes, and we get this printout. I'm going to show you a few of these printouts of all the information that you gain. Then we can develop a plan based upon that. So let's say that your serotonin is low. Well, we can boost that. We can use natural agents to boost that. Or inflammation is very high, or your energy is very low. Your mitochondria is low functioning. And obviously, if your mitochondria is low and energy is low, your body's not going to repair very well. And then your cells are going to get toxic and they're going to move towards disease. We don't like disease. We want to stay healthy. So this is a tool to optimize your health, and then a personalized program to support all these areas. And we don't charge much at the Karlfeldt Center for this test because we want to make this available to the masses to be able to kind of know what's going on in your body. If you need more advanced protocols, then seeing a provider like myself becomes important to optimize your health. Because a lot of us think, well, I feel good, but then you test this and you see, your stress level is high, or your mitochondria, your energy production is getting lower and lower. We need to do something about that. Or your brain, it's not optimized. So this becomes a really, really powerful tool. I'm going to show you a few samples, so just kind of tag along with me so we can go through a few of them so you can see what that looks like. Here you see, here's a summary report. Here's a male 50. You see this peak performance score 7 for this individual's age. It should be 32 or higher, and he's at 7. There's a lot that needs to be done there. You see the peak performance 22, and his optimal should be between 80 to 100. That peak performance gauge almost in the red. We like it to be in the green. We want it 80 to 100. Here you see the 5 stages of stress. You can see then where your body is in regards to stress. He's pretty stressed. He's at 4. We want it at 0. We want none. We can look at the stress index. Optimal is between 10 to 100. This poor person is at 1,449. So we need to do something. We need to support this person to bring that stress level down. So this is really good then for you to assess, where am I at stress-wise? It's one thing to be under stress for a short period of time, but for a longer period of time is going to wear down your body. It's going to put you in inflammation, suppress the immune system. You're not going to be able to absorb nutrients, not going to be able to detoxify, not be able to regenerate. So all these impacts that are taking place when your stress level is high. Then we can also take a look at your brain power spectrum. How powerful is your brain? What's going on in your brain? Obviously, a lot of people out there concerned about dementia and Alzheimer's. We want to protect our brain as much as possible. This gentleman is at 22 when optimum is 100. So there's a lot that is needed to be done here. This inflammation score right here. So inflammation, we know that that's a driver of majority of diseases. Integrative oncology at the Karlfeldt Center, inflammation always precedes cancer. Obviously, that is not the only disease that precedes. You have autoimmune conditions, everything that ends with itis, arthritis, arthrosclerosis. All these are inflammatory conditions that we need to address. Here you see inflammation score of 3,478, and normal should be between 75 and 300. So obviously there's a lot that needs to be done. We have a lot of changes that can take place. And what's cool is that, you have this becomes a baseline. You bring in an intervention, lifestyle, diet, nutritional supplements to support these things. And then you remeasure again after a month. And then you see, am I heading in the right direction or not? So as I mentioned, this is a very kind of easy, it's a low cost assessment tool that we are using. Other practitioners charge a whole lot more for this than what we do. I just want to make sure that you have the opportunity to be able to assess your health without having to spend a huge amount of money. Here, also look at your actual age versus biological age. So his actual age is 50 and his biological age, because he's dealing with so many stressors, it's beyond the system couldn't even calculate it. That's how bad it was. Here you can then see the actual heart rate variability, and you see that it's pretty flatlined. You see the heart rate variability, the index is 5, which is very, very low. You see the stress index, 1,449. And this becomes really powerful. So you see the different minerals. Where is this individual at in regards to the different minerals? So C is a little bit low in potassium, C is a little bit low in magnesium. So bringing in these nutrients become a very type of protocols in order to be able to control that fire within. You see the cortisol level. It's not excessively high, but it is a little bit higher than we would like. We can then bring in supplements and tools to bring that down. DHEA, estradiol look good. Pregnenolone a little bit low, so we can support the person there. And you see the insulin. Here we see kind of that brain spectrum, very, very low. We can also look at the neurotransmitters, see the dopamine level is very, very low. Epinephrine is where we want it to be. And then you can kind of check there also norepinephrine and serotonin and all these other things that come up as well. And here we look at a pie chart. You want these to be balanced. So these are kind of the Ayurvedic personalities, Vata, Kapha, and Pitta. And you want these to be balanced. He is very kind of Pitta heavy. So then there's a diet that would go along with that. And there's a certain lifestyle factors that would go along with that to help to balance that out. And then you can also see his mitochondrial activity, how much his battery charge, where the cells need energy in order to be able to function appropriately. Mitochondria plays a huge role, and that is the energy factory within the cell. So this individual, how full is his battery? Is the Energizer bunny running out, or is it keep on going? His total power is at 88, and we want it to be at least 1,500. It's not good. Inflamed, stressed, no energy, brain's not functioning where it needs to go. So there's a lot of opportunity for intervention here. As I said, all this information you can get just through this HeartQuest, this simple measuring tool. Here you can also look at the different energy centers, for individuals. You have energy flow in the body. You have all the different meridians, energy wheels, different chakras. See, the top chakra has a lot to do with our ability to receive information, connected with God. Then we have the third eye, chakra has a lot to do with our understanding. We receive that information, we understand it. And then we have our throat chakra has a lot to do with our decision making, being able to communicate. So all these different chakras, they have different meanings and functionality, and we want them at 100. And you see his crown chakra is at 0, third eye chakra 0, throat chakra 2. This individual needs help. So, the different meridians, which ones are hyperperforming, hypoperforming. So you see here, high deficient, is red, moderate deficient is yellow, normal is green, moderate stagnation is blue, high stagnation is purple. So then we can then see like the stomach, that meridian is purple, so it's high stagnation. And then we can see the reds, which are very deficient, like the liver, and then pericardium, and then bladder. And so then there are therapies and we can do to bring in support those areas, that are highly deficient. Let me just flip over to another one so you can see the difference. Here we have a female, 74 years of age. So wellness score 68, and then optimal for her age is 9.5 or higher. She's 74, so 9.5 is still pretty low, but she's at 68 then for her age, and 9.5 is good. And you can see her peak performance. She's at the green, so the peak performance is at 100 out of 100, which is amazing. And then the 5 stages of stress, she is at a 1, so stress level is very low. And then you see stress index, the score is 50, optimals between 10 and 100. And her brain power, 74, is at 100 out of 100. That's incredible. Not everyone gets a bad score like the initial gentleman. Inflammation score, 185. And so not a lot of inflammation, still a little bit there. So we can support that area. You can see here the heart rate variability, much better than the other one that we saw earlier. You can see kind of all these ups and downs becomes really important. The heart rate variability index is 9 versus the other gentleman that was at 5. So much, much better. Here, looking at minerals, she's a little deficient in calcium. She could slow down a little bit on potassium and sodium. And then hormones, inflammatory index is looking good. We can bring it down a little bit if we want to, but not too bad. Cortisol, a little bit low in some of the cortisol and DHEA. So we would then support the adrenals, maybe bring in a little bit of DHEA, a little bit high in estrogen, pregnenolone. So we may want to support then the liver function to clear those hormones out. Looking at the brain power, that's amazing. 100 different neurotransmitters, dopamine, doing pretty okay. Epinephrine, pretty okay. She could use a little bit more. And then in addition to that, and it's not visible here, you also get to see your serotonin level, your insulin level as well. And insulin obviously has a lot to do with your ability to regulate blood sugar, which is really, really important. And here you see kind of the split of the different personalities. She's 50% kappa, so she would be more kind of a kappa type of diet. And the vata and pitta are pretty balanced. And her total power, we talked about the mitochondria, the Energizer bunny, how much energy, how much force is in that battery still. And she's at 3,387, a whole lot better than the other gentleman, right? That's mitochondria is doing really good. So we probably don't need to support much there. We can see here the different chakras. You see she's at 100, 100, 100, a little bit low in the heart chakra, solar plexus chakra, and then also the sacral, so then they're different, you can actually bring in these colors. Like for instance, if you want to support the heart chakra, have a lot of green around you and be out in nature, a lot of green. Solar plexus chakra has a lot to do with connecting with family, but also bring in yellow, eat yellow food, things that are yellow to bring that energy in. For this female, her liver it's very stagnated. Her kidneys and her lungs, these are areas that we would want to support then for this individual. So this becomes really powerful information as we then put together the protocol. And as you remember, I talked about the liver earlier in regard to kind of detoxify some of these unwanted hormones. So here we see it again, to support the liver becomes really important. Schedule an appointment for HeartQuest, and you gain access to this information. We put together a protocol for you to be able to address the weaknesses. And then we monitor again after a month and see, what impacts are we making? Do we need to hit something a little bit harder? Can we slow down on something? Depending on what the follow-up results show. So here we have a female, 29 years of age. She's at 60. Optimal for her age is 74 or higher. So her wellness score is just a little bit below what we would like. Peak performance is at 81. So she's doing pretty good. 5 stages of stress, 0. So really, Her heart rate variability didn't show much stress at all. Again, stress index 81, and then you can see her brain power 100. So her brain is doing great. Inflammation score 255. So a little bit, I mean, it's within the optimum, but we can work on that a little bit more. Her actual age is 29, but looking at all the factors from the heart rate variability, it shows that her biological age is 38. So obviously there are things that we can do to improve where she's at. And you can see her heart rate variability here looks really, it looks a whole lot better. You can see these changes. Her heart rate variability index is 10, which is, again, better than the two prior, but she's younger, so she should have better. Then looking down then at the different minerals, she's a little bit low in magnesium. The other ones look pretty good, maybe a little bit more potassium. Looking at the inflammatory index, it looks pretty good, but we could, make it a little bit better. Cortisol level, a little bit on the higher side, but not extreme. DHEA, estradiol, estrogen, those look pretty good. Pregnenolone, a little bit low. Pregnenolone is like the hormone that is a precursor to things like DHEA and testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. It's kind of like a precursor. So you have cholesterol, which is a building block, and that gets converted into like pregnenolone, and then you have DHEA, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and so they have that whole hormonal cascade. So we could support her a little bit there. Looking at dopamine level, it looks pretty good. Epinephrine, and then again, norepinephrine, serotonin is usually part of this as well. We're just not seeing it here. And you can see she's pretty balanced between, kapha, vata, and pitta, a little bit more pitta. Her total power is 1,785, so she falls within that okay range, but we could kind of support her probably a little bit more in that area. Not as bad as the original gentleman. And you can see here, the different aspects of her different chakras, which ones that we can support a little bit more. And remember, this is just kind of an energy flow. I call it kind of an energy flow from God, the divine, and then through us, and how we then connect with Earth. So we become like, energy that flows through us. And where do we have stagnation? Where do we have weaknesses? So we can then support those areas a little bit more. So crown chakra, ability to kind of connect to higher power, inspiration, need to support that a little bit more. And then you have solar plexus, has a lot to do with family. Solar plexus is like a nerve bundle that connects, nerves that connect to everything throughout our body. And so it's almost like, if you look upon it as a more kind of how we exist, in life is, how do we connect then with family and relationships, just like, solar plexus and connects to all the different organs through that hub. So let's see what else we have. Then looking at the different meridian, or looking at the meridian, so you see that the spleen is a little bit congested, and the triple warmer is weak. So then we would then use therapies to help to support those. So this is a really powerful tool, HeartQuest, and I highly suggest that you take the opportunity, come in, just give us a call, schedule an appointment, so that you can see where you're at, because knowledge is power. And your heart rate variability, I would say that is a tremendously accurate way to assessing your health. I mean, you have a lot of these people wear these kind of aura rings, that gives you the information about, how, your heart rate variability. This is a much more advanced form of that, where we can then also translate into what happens in the rest of your body, so that you can stay as strong, as healthy as possible. So we look forward to helping you. Again, HeartQuest is a powerful tool, and give it a try.